Erik Ten Hag, pressure mounts at Manchester United. This time around, it's about his assistant, known as Michel van der Gaag, who is being pursued by Ajax. That's what we're going to discuss about, as a certain person coming from from Netherlands is going to hate to obviously tell Erik Ten Hag how good he is and how Casemiro and Varane are really the problem at Man United, something I don't believe in. And lastly, we are going to be talking about Scott McTominay, how his coach for the national team is going to hate to obviously give him the flowers after getting United to a winning that we all jubilated about. Smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Now, let's start it off with the Telegraph coming in from Netherlands, one of the most credible news outlets from that side. And before we go there, we thank God for the gift of life, the Muslims. May Allah bless you abundantly and barakallahu fikum. Then, Michel van der Gaag is on a list of potential replacements for the Ajax manager position. It is unlikely that Ten Hag will allow it to happen. That is it. That is the Telegraph coming in through and obviously telling us something concerning Michel van der Gaag. Then Lolly Whitwell, United correspondent for The Athletic, has gone ahead and confirmed us that Louis van Gaal will recommend Michel van der Gaag to Ajax if the club parts ways with Maurice Seitin. Ajax are, however, aware that he is important in Erik Ten Hag's staff and that could be difficult to snatch him from the club. Now, when I read such a story, I obviously went back in the years when Carlos Queiroz left the club of Manchester United as one of the assistant coaches of Sir Alex Ferguson, and he went to Real Madrid. I remember those days we suffered a lot at Manchester United because the making of Sir Alex Ferguson was that he doesn't coach. He rarely appeared onto the training ground. Even in the dressing room, he couldn't go there because his job was to stand at the touchline. That is it. These coaches could do the job of coaching the players, and Sir Alex Ferguson would have gone ahead to meet with the coaches before the game. They discuss what player is fit and who is going to play and how they're obviously going to go on and really take on their opponents. Now, for him, it affected him a lot because he was not a hands-on coach. He was just a manager. But I think for Erik Ten Hag, he's a manager and a coach. But obviously, you wouldn't like to lose Michel van der Gaag into your first spell or your second spell of the contract, all of his contract at Manchester United. Michel van der Gaag is really a very good person and very important player, all very important manager, all part of Erik Ten Hag's structure and coaching staff. Why? He speaks very many languages, Portuguese, Spanish, so he helps communicate to players like Casemiro, those that come from South America, the Anthony's, that Ten Hag cannot communicate with because Ten Hag is not good at other languages. I think he can speak Dutch and English. That is it. So when it comes to that, it shows you that it can be a very huge blow if at all we lose Michel van der Gaag. And I think if at all I'm Michel van der Gaag, I would have gone ahead not to obviously rush to obviously leave Manchester United, because if Ten Hag is here for 4 years and the team is performing very well, I think there will be other Premier League clubs that will be looking at Michel van der Gaag to become their manager. That is it. This has been evident in very many clubs in the Premier League. Remember Steve Bruce at Manchester United. He went in through and obviously became a permanent manager. You know, look at McLaren. You know, he was under Sir Alex Ferguson as a coach or an assistant manager, but he went ahead to become a coach for Middlesbrough and very many other teams. Now, you see Mikel Arteta, one of the most vibrant managers in world football right now. He was at Manchester City from 2016, right? until 2020. That is it. 4 years with Pep Guardiola, and look at what is going to become. And for Michel van der Gaag, I think in also his mind, he knows that he is not supposed to obviously come in through and leave the club of Manchester United now, because you need to know how a big club is ran and how the egos of big players are tamed, because any manager's dream would be to manage a team in elite football like Manchester United, Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, Tottenham Hotspur, Chelsea, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund, PSG, name it. So I think he should stay with Erik Ten Hag, and Erik Ten Hag will tell him, please, let's stay here, more huge opportunities are going to come. Because when you go to Ajax and things don't work on well, your CV would have gone ahead obviously become bad. But if at all he happens to stay at Man United with Erik Ten Hag for more 2 years, and then he gets a job in the Premier League, then he will be what we call an established manager. But at Ajax, you are not all that an established manager, and Erik Ten Hag wouldn't like him to go at Ajax when Ajax is into the problems they're really facing right now. You know, Ajax's success was so much put to Erik Ten Hag, but there are two people ahead of him. That was the CEO, Van der Sar, and Mark Overmars, and that duo is no longer at Ajax, right? So it shows you that he's obviously going to really to see himself really struggle a lot with the team, and Erik Ten Hag will be the best person to let him know that don't go that side, you're going to struggle a lot, because the people that could help you do a better job are not there. But it will depend on Van der Gaag on what decision is going to take, because for these assistant managers and coaches, the moment a deal is agreed, they just have to let him go, and we'll be looking forward to who is going to be the next in command to Erik Ten Hag if Michel van der Gaag leaves. But it will be a very huge blow if at all he leaves, and I think Ten Hag is going to work tooth and nail to see to it that he keeps him at the club of Manchester United. This is one of the uncertainties that are being caused at Manchester United, and I think it should be really rebuffed as soon as possible. And I think it's going to be one of the huge questions to be asked Erik Ten Hag next Friday as we prepare to play away at Sheffield, because it needs to be addressed as soon as possible that this man is going nowhere. We don't want it to accumulate to other problems circulating at Man United, because we want stability at the club. Now, talking about Mark Overmars and Van der Sar, right? It shows you what Erik Ten Hag is missing at Man United to perform at his full frequency. You know, a competent CEO and a competent sporting director. Those two people are really paramount at the club of Manchester United. That's why I saw a story being run last week, and I think I did it here, that United are looking in for the sporting director of Atletico Madrid. He has been in the business for the past 2 decades, and he knows exactly how to negotiate with the people that really manage these players that United want to sign. So it shows you that we are moving in the right direction. Also, things are supposed to be set up to see to it that we obviously reach the levels where we deserve to be as a club of Manchester United. So guys, thank you very much for watching through. That is the story about Michel van der Gaag, and obviously we are here to present it to you as you guys watch us here onto our beautiful channel, that is the United Matters channel. So let's go to another story. There is a former Dutch coach known as Ren Maltenson, right? Ren Maltensen, right? And he's the assistant coach of Australia national team, and he has gone ahead and obviously said certain things about Ten Hag, and I found them important to obviously throw them to you and obviously see what your thoughts are about what he's saying. He first said that Ten Hag got all these players but cannot say that he was not supported. He indicated that he was satisfied. These are not players who were bought in the Glazers. Responsibility for the players on the field lines with Erik Ten Hag. Now, saying that Ten Hag really has all the players that he wants is being naive of this state, is being naive of the situation of the players happening at Manchester United. Now, Mr. Rennie, let me school you a little bit. Erik Ten Hag wanted Frankie de Jong. He wanted Darwin Núñez, right? He wanted Julian Timber. I'm telling you the first choice players that he wanted at Manchester United, and they're not given to him. Those are three. He wanted Cody Gakpo. He never got him. He wanted which other guy? He wanted he wanted Darwin. Have I talked about? Yes, I've talked about Darwin Núñez. He wanted Declan Rice. He wanted Harry Kane. You get? Those are 6 players that Erik Ten Hag wanted that he never got, right? And all the players that's going to hate to get have been second choice. He wanted Kim Min-jae and couldn't get him. So he's operating with his second choice players. And for an elite club, you should get your manager and back him with at least 80% of his first choice players. Now, that list goes up to like 6-7 players. That means they never even provided 60% of the first choice players that he wanted. So I understand that he's operating with them, but these are not the players he wanted. He wanted Jude Bellingham. Did he get him? So it shows you how hard it gets for him to operate. So I'm cancelling that, though he's obviously supposed to use the players he has to obviously thrive. Then he said Ten Hag wants a lot of intensity like he did at Ajax. These players don't have the mentality to put constant pressure. Casemiro, for example, doesn't have the chest for that. Ten Hag has a certain conviction about the way he wants to play. Now, anyone who attacks Casemiro is really very naive about Manchester United. Why didn't they say this last time? Last season, to me, the best player at Man United was Casemiro, Lisandro Martinez, Rafael Varane, in the descending order, right? Now, why wouldn't they say them last season? They are saying this season because we've not gone ahead to perform very well. But Casemiro is one of the best players in the world. He transformed that midfield of Man United. And what people don't know is that he now has a player to partner him in the double pivot. That is Sofian Amrabat, right? So let's just give it time. Let's not fidget over it, and let's not argue over it. Let's just find ourselves in a position of obviously taking us to the wonder world when this obviously comes to pass, and see to it that we really get where we deserve to be as a club of Manchester United. So to me, I don't really want to come in through and obviously see such lies being traded around by these people, that Casemiro is not good enough and doesn't have the chest to obviously do the needful. That man played that role single-handed last season, and the number of games we had to play. So all we need is to see to it that he gets some rest, and obviously Amrabat takes over into that role. Then he went ahead and said something else about this man that obviously showed me that this man is naive about the game. That Varane can't manage the pace. The Premier League is dynamic. Everything goes at 100 miles an hour. That's the big problem with the midfield. They don't have energy, and that's how the defense struggles. And this is a complete lie. Last season, we really won very many games because of our central defense. That is it. Rafael Varane, Lisandro Martinez, David De Gea, Luke Shaw, Dalot/Aaron Bissaka. That back five was solid, and it went ahead to do lots of things. So Ren is just naive about Manchester United and the players, because when you're talking about Rafael Varane, he's one of the best defenders in the world. He has faced the best of the best forwards in the world, and he has really run them down. And it shows you that if he was not really at that level, then Ten Hag wouldn't have gone ahead, obviously, play him most of the games. But he is even one of the captains of Manchester United. It shows you how he's good, and this man is really green about the club that he's talking about. You cannot talk about Rafael Varane and Casemiro with the experience they bring in that club, with the composure they bring to the club, the watertightness into that central defense that Rafael Varane gives us. It's obviously important. Rafael Varane and Lisandro Martinez, to me, were one of the best central defense partnerships in the world. But the problem was Rafael Varane really had some injuries and he missed out on some games. But Varane is really a solid rock into that central defense. They complement themselves with Luke Shaw, or with Lindelof, or with Lisandro Martinez. It shows you that is the most important piece in the jigsaw of Erik Ten Hag, because he makes every player that plays next to him better. That is it. So, Mr. Reddy, you need to revise your thoughts. Though everyone is entitled to his own opinion, but for that, I don't agree with you. So, lastly, John McGinn, you know him very well, plays for Scotland. Let's go ahead and say Scott McTominay is very athletic. He gets in the box and hits the ball harder than any player I've played with. So, it's no surprise he scored goals. Now, Scott McTominay scored a goal, by the way, in the midweek against Spain, but it was obviously ruled out. I felt like it was a simple foul, but it was not given. But he's a player that went ahead to score 2 goals and really rescued Man United from Brentford. And I've seen people hailing him high that he deserves to get playing time. Guys, we had this at Manchester United. However much Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was good coming from the bench to score goals, that never gave him the mantle to start ahead of Andy Cole, Dwight York, and Teddy Sheringham, because they were ahead of him. Though he started some games, but he obviously played most of his games off the bench. So, Scott McTominay at Manchester United is not a starter and is a bench player. And we all know that he thrives better when he's really played in a more advanced midfield role. That is it. So guys, thank you very much for watching through. Tell me your thoughts about Ten Hag pressure mounting at Man United as Ajax is trying to knock on the door of his assistant, that is Van der Gaag. Do you believe Michel Van der Gaag is leaving? Yes or no? What do you make about Ren, Matletsen, talk about Varane, Casemiro, and Erik Ten Hag, and Scott McTominay being held by McGinn? I thank God for the gift of life. I sign out for now. See you later. May the living to God bless you abundantly. Rock and David remains my name. The Muslims, Barakallahu fikum. I'm out.